Good evening. This is Kevin West, and thank you for checking in to another episode of The West of the Story. Have you ever taken a trip away from your spouse and went into your bags and pulled out one of these guys? Yeah, a sticky note or a post-it note. I was on a trip not that long ago and opened up my bag, and there were a couple of notes in there. One of the ones that I pulled out, it said "missing you already," and was really kind of sweet. Another note that I found had a bunch of X's and O's on it, and so I don't know if we were trying to play tic-tac-toe and I just had to come up with the board or what, but I had some X's and O's from my wonderful wife. And then the last note that I had a heart you or love you. And so you guys have received some of these sticky notes in your bags, or maybe you have them stuck up on a mirror around the house somewhere just to say what's up. And sometimes you have those sticky notes on your computer as reminders, and so you put those on there, and then that way you know what you have to do for the day. And post-it note has been around for quite some time. In fact, the website says for over 40 years the Post-it brand has helped people be more productive, communicate better, and express themselves in a number of creative ways. Yet, as universal as these products have become, their beginnings were far more certain. Looking back, the birth of our canary yellow phenomenon reminded us of a valuable lesson. Perseverance and persistence can be just as important as inspiration when it comes to bringing an idea to life. And so I wanted to share the story of the birth of the Post-it note. In fact, did you know that the Post-it note really was created by accident? It wasn't created on purpose. There was a doctor that worked for 3M. His name was Dr. Spencer Smith, and I don't know if you guys are able to read this note or not, but Dr. Spencer Silver, Dr. Spencer Silver was a 3M scientist, and Dr. Silver was busily researching adhesives in the laboratory. In the process, he discovered something peculiar. An adhesive that stuck lightly to surfaces, but it didn't bond tightly to them. It was part of my job as a researcher to develop new adhesives, and at that time he wanted to develop bigger, stronger, and tougher adhesives, said Spencer, but unfortunately this was none of those. What Silver discovered was something called microspheres, which retain their stickiness but with removability characteristics. And it allowed attached surfaces to peel apart easily. And so you were able to put it on a surface and then take it back off without damaging the surface. For years, Silver struggled to find a use for his invention or for his intention. But that didn't keep him from touting the merits of his creation to his colleagues. He came to be known as Mr. Persistent because he wouldn't give up. Meanwhile, there was another scientist, and that scientist was known as Art Fry, and he was also a 3M scientist there at the same laboratory, and he kind of got in on the invention as well. And so Art was frustrated because every Wednesday night he would go to church, and he would stay after church on Wednesday night for choir practice, and they would take their hymn book, and he would put pieces of paper in the hymn book to mark his place for the songs that they were going to sing on Sunday morning. Then when he showed up on Sunday and opened up the book, he had noticed that the bookmarks, since there wasn't anything to hold them in, many of them had fallen out of their place, and so he was so frustrated. And so, but he needed a bookmark that would stick to the paper, but like we were talking about before, did not damage the pages. So thinking back to a seminar that he attended on Silver's microspheres, he had what he now refers to as an eureka moment, the one where you get the adrenaline rush, he said. So partnering with Silver, they began developing a product. And once they found themselves writing messages on their new notes to communicate around the office, they realized the full potential of the idea. I thought what we have here isn't just a bookmark, said Fry. It's a whole new way to communicate. And so you have been communicating for years with these little sticky notes, and you've been communicating with yourself. You've been communicating maybe to a spouse, maybe it's been to a friend or children or just friends and family. But the post-it note, the little sticky note, wasn't supposed to be the invention. But thanks to a scientist by the name of Art Fry, who really wanted something that would stick to the surface but not ruin it or not hurt it when you take it back off, came up with the idea of this being a great invention. And so Silver and Fry combined together, and they made the post-it note, something that you and I have both enjoyed and are still enjoying, and something that you might not have known was an accident. Now you do, because now you know the rest of the story.